PLD Projects presents Holy Snokes, a Star Wars podcast featuring PLD and Matty Gunner. May the Force be with you, always. Greetings and salutations. It is time for another episode of Holy Snokes, a Star Wars podcast here on the PLD Projects Network. I am, of course, PLD. With me, as always, my sidekick, the man with the scream, the man with the hair, the man with a strong opinion, but not afraid to cry. Matty Gunner, how you doing, my friend?
I have strong opinions.
You do.
Whoever would tell you that?
I've heard that. I've definitely heard that you've had strong opinions a few times. I've actually heard it directly from the source. And usually I can feel them flowing over me as the fire in your eyes gets a little too much to handle at times.
Hey man, you knew what you were getting when you asked me to be the co-host of this show.
You know, I always likened myself to be a Sith Lord back in the day, but I know better now. I know that you're the Sith Lord and I am the Jedi Master.
What's the quote from this man? You're a fucking choir boy compared to me.
That's fair. That is absolutely fair. That's okay. I know my place now.
You're a choir boy.
Yin and yang. We make it work. Either way, hey, you make your strong opinions known, and I just try to channel the energy the best I could. That's why we make a good team, I think.
Yeah, good luck.
We'll do it best we can. Hey, I'm up to the challenge. I mean, I might be on the lesser side of things as far as like that side goes. But I've got enough passion to kind of help direct. So don't underestimate. Don't underestimate.
I wouldn't. I just, we have enough of it on the other side. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna redirect it back at them a little bit.
It's fair, and you know what? That's fair. Sometimes I'd like to let you go, so I consider you our attack dog. That's the way I look at it. And sometimes I let the leash go, and it works out very well for us that way. Anyway, let's get into it. This is a quicker episode this week. I do have, I mentioned in my video before, but I have scheduling issues and got the stuff going on, and kind of got to get a little in and out this time. But we'll make sure we get all of our pieces in. Yes, it is much better than Whataburger. But that's another. Well, I just lost part of our audience, but that's okay. I don't mind because it's only Jake. Anyway, let's move forward. There this week, of course, like I do every week on PLD Projects Holy Snokes. If this is your first time here, hit that like, that subscribe, hit that Patreon up, patreon.com/PLD Projects. Jeff Alterman, Austin Cadell, Brandon Buckingham, all great people that we helped out on a monthly basis, and I couldn't do it without them. We have a great community in Sword. I'd like to see that community grow. It'd be great to see more Star Wars chatter on the chest there.
All right.
They're more than all right, although they're definitely as opinionated as you are sometimes. Let's be honest. But
I think the only one that could probably go toe to toe with me is probably PJ.
PJ definitely gets fiery as well. That's for sure. Depends.
Maybe Jeff. Jeff would probably beat me with actual fact, but
Jeff would beat you with snark, if nothing else. To be honest.
Yeah, he's pretty snarky.
But we love him well, regardless. They have a lot of fun there. But every week on Holy Snokes, what we do is we take usually drop a little bit of news as we are. We haven't done that in a little bit because last week we had 3 episodes of Bad Bass to take care of, so no time for news, Dr. Jones. This week we only have the one episode, a good episode. We're going to talk about that. Well, again, we'll start off with some news, then we'll break down that episode as only Holy Snokes can, with some various categories and topics of information. So let us get right to it. This week, we have a couple news to talk about. This is the one I was going to talk about last week, but said, no, we'll just wait. Because it's not exactly a pressing news source, but it is a cool news source. Of course, I always get my news from Star Wars News Net. They are wonderful at curating the best of the news and letting you know what's news and what's rumor and where we lie at this point.
Bullshit. All of it.
The bullshit, yes. The first one is in that rumor category, but would be really cool. We have the story that states that Angela Bassett has met with Lucasfilm for an upcoming role. Now, is this news? I mean, we hear all the time all these actors meeting with Lucasfilm, and of course they're meeting with Lucasfilm. Lucasfilm is always looking for new talents and everything else. However, this one was one that intrigues me most because of all the stuff that's been in development. There is a character that Angela Bassett absolutely, definitely feels like she would take on and be an inspired choice for. And that's the one that has been rumored for a while. And that's Great Admiral Ray Sloane. Big character in the books, big character in the books, has always been wanted by fans to make an appearance in animation and live action, et cetera, et cetera. And if she was going to make that jump, I can't think of a person better suited than Angela Bassett, given, depending on where, of course, in the timeline it falls. If we're talking post Return of the Jedi, Angela Bassett's pretty spot on. What do you think?
I have a counterpoint.
Okay, all right.
The lady that plays Michonne in The Walking Dead. I forget her name.
Denai
Gennaro, yeah. She'd be cool.
That would be an interesting choice as well. But I do think Angela Bassett has this more imperial sense about her. It's more like kind of like imperial officer sense. Like you think about her role as the Wakandan queen, she has that kind of air about her. Michonne seems to be a wonderful actress, but I kind of see her being
wasn't she also like a general? She was like the general for the Wakandan army in Black Panther, right?
Yes, she was.
Same actress.
She was in Black Panther. Yeah, I can't remember her.
She's like the general of the Wakanda. She's like the what they call the Dora Milaje.
Correct. She is that. Yeah, she was a hack. I can't remember the character's name. Not well versed in Black Panther, but then she fits well. But that's exactly my point. She seems to be an actress who I would see more as like the field marshal, the Darth Maul kind of thing. That she goes into the action, whereas Angela Bassett would be the one from behind directing traffic and being like, "You're gonna fuck with me. I'm gonna the whole empire down your ass," kind of thing. So I mean, either would be good. I'm not going to downplay Denai for sure. But yeah, I think it's worth discussing. And I think Angela Bassett's got a phenomenal acting talent. Obviously, there was talk of trying to get her a nomination for her work in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. It's tough to overcome that superhero label, I think, for some people. I think that's one reason why it would never came to be. Amongst other reasons potentially, but it was a very strong performance is what's important. And have her put that down in Star Wars, I would be very, very happy to see Angela Bassett get a role in Star Wars. But, all right. Anything to say about that? Should we move on?
No. When it happens, if it happens, it happens.
Perfect. Well, yeah, that's always the way it is, right? I mean, a lot of our news stories are speculation pieces, and it's always fun to speculate as long as we get that it's a rumor or it's in talks. Doesn't mean it's happening yet. We'll save our celebration for when it's actually going to definitively happen. But all right, next up we got Acolyte. According to Collider, who's targeting June 5th as a date, which is what I had heard as well. And also in the same article, they mentioned Michael Abels is going to score it. I don't know much about Michael Abels' score. He is known primarily for working with Jordan Peele. He did the score to Nope.
He's the new Hideo Kojima game that he's working on with Jordan Peele.
I believe that's true.
Yes.
I believe it's true.
Yes. Yes.
So you're excited about that. I know how much you love Hideo Kojima. So
yeah. He's doing it because it's like a psychological thriller game. That was based on the game that Kojima started with, actually, with Guillermo del Toro back in the day.
Yeah, okay.
Hideo and Guillermo did. So they started that, and then Konami did what they did. Fucking assholes. And then now he's doing this game called OD. It's called Overdose, and he's doing it with Jordan Peele. And he said it's going to be like this big interactive thing. It's going to be like part game, part movie, interactive thing, and I think that's the guy who's doing the score.
Okay, I don't know much about it, so I'll have to take your word for it. I didn't really listen to it.
The music I've heard from it so far, it sounds kind of like the Psycho theme. That like did. Creepy as shit. Let's put it.
I do know
creepy music.
I have not heard that, and also I'm not seeing that anywhere, so I'm not certain it's accurate. But if it is, it's awesome. I do know his scores from Jordan Peele's movies. I remember him from Get Out, Us, Nope, and all those.
Oh, yeah.
They were always very solid and very fit what they was going for. So I think it's a strong sense of talent. And hopefully he'll fit the Accolade very well. The Accolade again, June 5th. That's basically agrees with what I had heard before. And summertime, like I said, I know you wanted the Halloween thing, but it is what it is. It is what it is. I'm excited to get it either way. I can't wait. It's going to be a very interesting time. And I will say one thing, my little slight shot at Lucasfilm, I'm so excited we get a title that's not a character. Unless the lead character, well, I mean, technically, I guess the lead character is the Acolyte, so it's kind of like barely getting out of there. I mean, like, you got the Mandalorian, the Acolyte, the Skeleton Crew coming up. I mean, they're at least getting a little bit away from it, but give me a different title. I don't want to see any more Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ahsoka.
If it's going to be June, that means we're going to start getting promo material now. And I'm just going to warn anyone listening to this show or anyone who follows me on social media, send me anything about this show. The full wrath of hell will be unleashed upon you. This is the one that I'm going in completely blind.
You're not even watching the trailer.
No, I've already seen it.
Oh, that's right. You saw that.
But with Bad Batch, there's completely different footage than what we saw at Celebration. I don't want to see anymore. Like I'm already all in. Like,
so you're not, when the new trailer comes out, you're not going to watch it, even though it'll be a different trailer.
Nope.
All right, I'll do the trailer reaction on my own. Then fine.
Nope, you do them all on your own anyway.
That's true.
I don't know why they get more numbers.
What are we talking about?
That's probably why they get more numbers, is because you do them without me.
Oh, come on now. You know you're our eye candy.
I just be talking over the whole thing.
That's fair. That's not a bad thing. I've always seen that people get upset about review or reactions that talk. Like, what are you watching?
Don't get me started on reactors in a minute.
What are you watching for? What are you watching it for? Like, I don't know. It just feels like disingenuous. Like, if you don't want to see somebody talk about the thing they're reacting to, then don't watch them react to it. Watch the thing itself.
I got in so much shit the other day when I started talking about music reactors. Because I pitched this real quick tangent and then we'll move on. I pitched the Morna video to a bunch of different reactors. Right. They all wanted money for a start. Some of them wanted upwards of $250 to play a. I'll just shout them out here. That channel, Lost in Vegas.
Okay, I think
they wanted like $250 to play 30 seconds of the video before their main video. So it wasn't even a reaction to like the whole video. It was just like, we'll play 30 seconds of your song before one of our videos. And I was just like, are you having a fucking laugh?
That's dirty.
Not a chance. And then I paid this other reactor who I'm not even going to plug him because screw him. We gave him, it was like a thing where you give $10 and then you put it into like his Twitch stream rotation.
Right.
He put it on and then he went and got made a drink. He didn't even listen to the song.
Oh my God.
So me and reaction channels at the minute are on a very thin.
I didn't even realize that was a thing. Like you pay for reaction, like an advertisement kind of thing. Oh, that's just dirty to me. That's just I couldn't do that at all. But you know what? That's what.
Shout out to you and our friend Pat over in the Montyverse for like actually doing this shit for genuine love of this thing and not
absolutely.
If you like start taking money from indie movie directors,
ain't gonna happen. I mean, if you're gonna send me free money, I'll take free money. But I mean, I besides that, I'm not gonna take it for to do that, and then I'd actually give it a proper review anyway. I'd react to it no matter what, regardless. I think taking money for things like that. You're gonna do doing advertisements is one thing. That's how some channels survive, and that's how some channels make their livings. And I get it. It's a harsh world out there. Take all the advertisements you get. I don't mind when channels have advertisements. I don't mind when podcasts have advertisements. It is what it is.
That's how they make the money, right? That's how channels make the ad revenue.
Get your bag, baby. That's fine. As long as you just make sure your content is good for me, then I'll
just don't charge, brand new bands the amount of money that it costs them to record and mix and master the song to have 30 seconds of the song appear in one of your videos.
Absolutely. I got here. You know what also too is also is a place your ads properly. By the way, I obviously most people know I work with Christian Harloff, and Christian Harloff has done ads before and stuff all the time. And the best part is his most recent video. He got sponsored by Blue Chew into Tushy. It's
Oh,
like a bidet. Like Blue Chew into Tushy. What are we trying to sell here, Christian?
change my life getting one of those.
Yeah, is that good?
Oh, dude. Now when I travel, I don't know how I lived before getting a bidet.
Wow. Huh? I might have to check that out. Actually, I'll get a discount from that channel anyway.
Get
but
one.
Blue Chew into Tushy. That feels like we got a little bit of a weird selling point there.
Hey man, those pills work.
There you go. There you go. All right, let's move on then to our next channel before we get too far into that. Mando and Grogu is shooting 92 days in California and is getting one of the largest state tax credit, upwards of what was it? Let me see the exact. I want to see the exact amount. The California government is giving back $21.75 million in tax credits to compensate for job creation that the massive production will represent. It's one of the largest sums ever for the Golden State.
And watch Bob Iger just rip it off the streams, rip it off before it even airs.
Bob Iger hopefully doesn't know Zaslav. That's all we got to say about that. But it's interesting. It says that production weekly states that the cameras would start rolling on June 17th. Now, I will say one thing. There is a case of there's the volume, which people kind of have a love-hate relationship with, and I get it.
Yeah, why? I don't know why people care so much. You're not cinematographers. Why the hell do you care?
Well, I will say I understand part of it in terms of when you see something that's done strictly in the volume versus see something like Andor, which is definitively shot out in the real world, there is a sense of it's hard for the volume to completely recapture that and make it feel completely genuine. I tend to know the difference a little bit. I think the volume's done a great job. Don't get me wrong, I'm not a volume hater at all. But I think there's a way that I would love to see them do a little bit of both. So I'm hoping that they do some stuff in the California wood-based kind of thing as well. It'd be nice to see a little bit of both, especially for something like out of the big screen. I'm curious to see how the volume works on the big screen. I've never seen a volume thing on the big, a volume heavy volume. Was the Batman volume heavy?
There was the big scene when him and Catwoman are standing on that massive bit of scaffolding.
Okay.
That was shot in the volume. The club scene where he's going after who's Colin Farrell played Penguin. That was done in the volume.
Okay.
And I think the train station sequence at the beginning where he does the I Am Vengeance, I think that was in the volume too.
I'd have to rewatch the Batman because I'm very I remember it obviously, but I don't think of the specifics. And again, that's fine. And that's what I mean though. Using the volume like that is good. I think Star Wars sometimes can tend to rely on the volume for a lot of their work, and that's when I think you should use it not sparingly, but interact it a little bit more. I think it's a way to use both. But either way, it's kind of cool that they're getting this tax credit. I think that's going to help shoot in California. I think that's fun. It's definitely an interesting story for sure. Who knew that? I mean, it seems that a lot of independent films are getting this credit too, which is good. But it makes sense if a film like the size and the scope of Ben and Grogu is going to shoot there. They should get a large tax credit because it's going to create a lot of jobs in California. And it's very interesting just to see how that works as far as future projects go. This is going to be a good thing. I mean, hey, you're always looking to supplement your funding any way you can, even as the biggest company in the world. It's always good to have a little bit more.
Cut corners where you can. Just my only thing is take those tax credits and put it into the people working on the productions. Is all I ask.
That's what I would say too, and hopefully they do. I mean, I think it's a little bit of naive hope for us, but we'll have to see what happens. All right, let's got two more pieces of news before we break into our episode today. First one, not even a news bit, but interesting conversation. Again, this is very much in the term of speculations. James Arnold Taylor was at a convention, and this is not even news. This is a desire by him, but it was an intriguing desire. He was mentioning he's obviously his voice work for Obi-Wan and in Star Wars in general. And he stated that he started talking about a young Ahsoka series, like mini series, not a series, but a young Ahsoka and Plo Koon miniseries. And he said it's something he would love to see happen. He says, I would love it if they brought him back, Plo Koon. I'd really be thrilled if we were able to extend what they did in that last series with Ahsoka and Plo. I'd love a whole miniseries of when she was little and him training her as a Jedi. I know that Ashley is an amazing actress, so she could voice little Ahsoka, she could voice mid-sized Ahsoka, and then full-grown Ahsoka because we've all seen that. But I would love to see their arc told more. I want to know what happened there. He went on, of course, to pitch as most just like a la Samuel L. Jackson that Plo Koon could actually have survived Order 66. If always going back to, I always say if Darth Maul can survive Obi-Wan cutting
That's
him in
been a
half,
long time theory that he got out of the fighter before it went down.
then Plo Koon could have survived Order 66. And to be completely honest, let's throw it out on the table. He does share. He has the very distinct advantage of being Dave Filoni's favorite Jedi. So Dave Filoni and always probably wanting to bring him back in some way, shape, or form.
Plot armor's bulletproof, bro.
Absolutely. So that's definitely possible. But beyond that, beyond Plo Koon's survival in Order 66, what do you think about that idea of doing a miniseries between Glow and Little Ahsoka?
To be honest, I'm not too crazy on it.
Not too plus. Okay, I get that. Because I have talked to some people who are a little bit Ahsoka'd out, and I get that. Dave Filoni definitely has definitely focused a lot of attention on Ahsoka, and they want to not necessarily that they're like completely Ahsoka out, but they'd rather see more stories around her, instead of focusing on her. And I understand that too. I was not very excited about it from an Ahsoka angle. I don't think we need a whole lot from her angle, but I will say the Plo Koon side of it does intrigue me.
That's the thing. I don't want Plo Koon to be like a supplementary character in another. And I'm not even saying, I know you're not saying this is me. I'm not Ahsoka out. I love the character of Ahsoka. I think she's great. But like, I want a Plo Koon series. Like, just get like a mini series, even if it's Tales of the Jedi with Plo Koon. Cool. Give it to me.
Well, that would be kind of thing I would think of. We could actually do a Tales of the Jedi arc, which covers Plo Koon, like maybe from Plo Koon's point of view. Have Ahsoka there and have him discovering Ahsoka and have him training Ahsoka and everything else. We see things more from his point of view. That would be more intriguing to me than an Ahsoka point of view style show of that same time frame. I just think it's an interesting way to take a look at things from a certain point of view, different point of view as things were. But yeah, I'd love to say, I'd love to see James Arnold Taylor to come back for anything. I think he's one of my favorite voice actors in the Star Wars animation realm. And it feels like it's been too long. I don't know if he's done anything recently. Off the top of my head, I can't think if he's done anything recently. I don't think he's done anything in Bad Batch or anything, as far as I know.
Every time I see a picture of him or a video of him, he's at a convention with Ashley and Matt Lanter.
Yeah, it makes sense. So let's bring it back. Well, I'd always be up for more Clone Wars. You know that, absolutely. I don't care where it is. Anytime I get them three together, I'm in for a good time. Maybe it's an untold story of the Clone Wars, which I feel like it's coming to the end. I feel like we're getting to the end of that era. Kind of curious, after the Bad Batch is done, it feels like that's the bow. That's going to wrap up. We're not going to get any more clone stories for a long time.
I would like it to be. If I'm 100% honest, I would like it. Let the clones go out as they go out and don't reach that whole ground.
Yeah, what else can you tell at this point? It feels like anything you do is
Tales of the Clones.
Right. That's like it's all like we've told their big story at this point. Anything else beyond that is more individual based. If we have an individual Rex story, an individual, Cody story, that's something specific. But I agree.
Cody, I would like Rex. We've had so much with Rex, like Clone Wars, Rebels, Bad Batch. Yeah. Like we've got next to nothing with Cody. Like,
right. I totally get that as well. And I'd love to see a Rex and Cody miniseries at some point post Bad Batch potentially, which would be fun. Although we know it's kind of weird. I was talking about this with some people, Jeremiah Morris being one and everything else. We're coming to the end of Bad Batch. The only person we know that survives Bad Batch right now, the only person we know survives, besides Palpatine, Tarkin, and the baddies that we've seen, is Rex. So Rex was on to Rebels. Wolf's appeared in Bad Batch. Did Wolf appear in Bad Batch?
He's in this season.
He is in this season. Okay, we haven't seen him yet, correct? He wasn't in Bad 2 or 1 or 2, correct?
I think he was in that episode where they rescue all the clones. I think he was with Echo's little unit.
Okay, he might have, but I can't remember. Sometimes it kind of goes a little bit. But okay, so Wolf, but I would consider him a real Bad Batch like character so far. We'll get more of that. But Rex is really the only one we know because they obviously survived to be on Rebels. That's leaves a lot open for Echo. And I think Echo and Cody are the ones that are most intriguing to me outside the Bad Batch, because the Bad Batch have their own thing going on. And I know Echo's a part of the Bad Batch. Yes, I know, but he's always been kind of like, he was the late addition. He's the one he left the team to be with Rex. I mean, he's always part of the squad, but at the same time, he has a journey that was outside the Bad Batch as well. So I'm intrigued to see where he goes. Of course, him and Cody both, because we don't know where they're going. And we know this big thing is coming up. So, and we know that Jennifer Corbett and Brad Rao under the auspices and training of Dave Filoni, like to make us cry. So, and the Kiners, by the way, too. By the way, the Kiners, who are officially all three of them are in Score soundtrack now, which makes me happy to see all three of them get their due. But on Twitter, those Kiner kids, they tend to be very cryptic with their tweets and very, very savage.
We must time with Jennifer Corbett.
Oh God! But we're gonna find out. It's that a long time coming. I did actually. That's funny. I put an order as far as who I thought was going to die, who I thought was going to live, like who was most likely to die to live. I have a Deadpool going. I said we had it was a conversation I had with Jeremiah Morris last night. After as soon as the episode was done, he's like, "Did you see it? Did you see it?" I'm like, no, I couldn't because I couldn't watch it right away last night. I was working. I was like, God damn it! I was so annoyed. We just had a conversation about what we thought was going to be the end there, and we had an interesting take. I went with this. This is my top to bottom. One, I initially said Crosshair first. I think he's the most likely to die. 2 was Echo. I switched it by the end. I think Echo's even more likely to die than Crosshair now. I really do. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because Echo bases in Hoth and there's that kind of thing, so he has to die before the original trilogy for that to happen. But something about that feels like Echo's end feels like the ending of this Clone War. This side of the clones. Like he's been so focused on helping the clones out at the end of this. That's his job. Once his job is well done, there's no living beyond that for him. He doesn't need to live beyond that.
I'll give you mine then. 1, Hunter. 2, Echo. 3, Crosshair. 4, Wrecker.
So you think Hunter is most likely to die?
100%.
Wow. Well, let me get there. Okay, so I have Echo.
I have this vision in my head of like Omega taking Hunter's bandana and like putting it on, or like wrapping it around her arm or something.
Ooh, that would be freaky sad. I'm here for it. I do have Hunter as 3. I do have Wrecker as 4, and I have Omega as 5. Because I do still have Crosshair over Hunter. Although I'm going to shout out our friend Jeremiah Morris. He gave me he said something to me that made me stop and think too. Similar reason that you did, but he feels like that Crosshair is going to be ready to do it. It's going to be up there. We're going to think it's going to be Crosshair, and Hunter's going to step in and save Crosshair and take the sacrificial lamb spot himself.
Yeah, and give Crosshair a chance to live and redeem. Yeah,
and Crosshair be like, "Why did you do this for me?" And Hunter like, "You're my brother. I've always had your back," kind of thing, like filling up that potential thing as well, which could make sense as well. Though, the Hunter Omega, I don't know. It's hard to tell which is more important, the Hunter Crosshair or the Hunter Omega part of things as well. Even though I have her last, I do have, and I said this last week. I said that last week. I said it last week, and our great friends at Force Center, Ken Knapsack, talked about watching us during Madden. If you're playing Madden right now, I hope you're doing okay, Ken. I hope your Miami Dolphins are doing okay. He mentioned listening to our theories before, and I had mentioned that it is ultimately a kid's story, and he actually said it better than I did. It's not a kiddie story, not a pew pew bang bang like pew pew woo kiddie story, but it is at heart a kid's story, and that means hope. It means a new hope, and how can you kill the kid that way? I still feel that overall. However, every once in a while, I see something kind of like, could they?
No. That's a step too.
That would be a step. I think it's more likely she fakes her death, and that's how she gets out of the Empire's crosshairs.
They'd be like killing Grogu. They're never going to do it. They would never ever do it.
Okay. All right. Let's move on.
Nubs, maybe. Starlight Beacon falling on top of Nubs, maybe.
All right. One last bit of news before we rush through the episode from this week. This is not from Star Wars News. I don't know if it might be up there by now. On Instagram, Ahmed Bassett posted a picture of himself in a mocap suit, saying, "Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in." Hashtag mocap. Hashtag Star Wars. Hashtag Jar Jar Binks.
Such a troll. He is such a troll.
Hashtag Jedi. Hashtag Sith Lord. Hashtag Keller and Beck.
He's such a troll.
Now, as the non-video gamer, I kind of wish the Activision part wasn't in it because it means it feels like to me it's probably for a video game.
It is,
which is fine. But man, the thoughts went initially, my thoughts initially went spinning to Mando and Grogu. We're gonna finally see Keller and Beck handing Grogu off to Jar Jar Binks on
right.
I still want that. I still want that. But either way, yes, Ahmed Best is completely trolling them, and I'm here for it. And I'm happy to see him get another shot to do Jar Jar if that's the case, because quite frankly, obviously, we all know what that was like, or we don't know what it was like, but we were all there when that came down in the prequels and the backlash that the character received for years. We know how it affected Ahmed Best. So to give him a shot to, I don't want to use the word redeem the character because the character didn't need redeeming. The audience needs redeeming for being complete dick faces to him, to be honest with you. But to have a chance to kind of like bring the character back into the limelight to a degree and get an awesome shot at playing the character once more and hopefully receiving the same warmth that some of our other prequel friends have gotten with the reevaluation of things. I'm happy. He seemed to be happy about it. He seems to be loving his place in the Star Wars world, and bring it on. And it was Darth Jar Jar. Bring on Darth Jar Jar as well.
I hate to tell you guys this. I think he's just trolling. Point blank. I don't think it's Star Wars.
You don't think it's Star Wars?
Nope. And here's why. I am very lucky that I have friends who work in video game development, two of whom work for Activision.
Okay.
So I hit them up immediately, like straight away. I was like, "Is this a thing?" And they were like, "So I'm not going to name names. I'm not going to dox you guys out on here, just in case they listen, just in case because they knew I texted them for this fucking reason." Right now, it seems all hands are on deck with Activision Blizzard, which is a lot of like World of Warcraft, Skylanders, Guitar Hero. They're planning a new Guitar Hero the installments, like a reboot of Guitar Hero, and the next Call of Duty. I don't know if maybe he's going to be a playable character in the next Call of Duty, which would be pretty sweet. Not Jar Jar, period. Although
that'd be funnier.
That would be pretty funny. I mean, they had Darth Maul in the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Maybe they're doing a new Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, and like Jar Jar Binks is going to be one of the characters in it. But I know EA's exclusivity contract with Star Wars and Lucasfilm Games is up. I don't think that ended at the end of last year, so I don't think that they would be this far in development to be doing mocap right now. I saw a load of people. One of the big theories was, Keller and Beck's going to be in the Survivor game. No, wrong company. That's EA. And I know that because the EA mocap studios are in my hometown of Guildford.
Just throwing it out there, and this is me coming from a place of complete naivety today, especially about the games. I remember hearing that they were developing a Mandalorian game. I don't know if was that Activision or not.
No, okay. That wasn't Activision. I think that was Epic.
Okay. Just throwing out there, they could be doing dual duty. They could be doing he's shooting for the Mandalorian movie, but he's also shooting for the game. It's kind of like a development, like a co-development kind of thing. I don't know. But either way, it's a fun Instagram post. It is fun to speculate about for sure. I love it that he's at the place where he could do that and control about things. I would love to see more Keller and Beck. I hope that does make its way into the movie. I feel like that's the place where that would be the place where we get the finale of that, because we know you have the articles of Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau both saying they've been kind of like slowly doling out this story over the course of a couple of seasons, trying to know when to bring it up and not, lay it out on the table. Seems like that's a big movie event. That's a big movie thing. We're finally get the full finished part of that side. Grogu's finishing of the how he survived Order 66 and Keller and Beck's delivery of him. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get that in our movie. And I think it should be. I think it's a good way to put. We need the big movie event. Obviously, Mando movie Dave Filoni's doing is a big end of Mandoverse type movie or crux of what's going on that story. So what is that movie that makes it movie worthy? Make this a big event like that. Give that part of it at least. So all right.
But yeah, sorry to burst everyone's bubble. So I had to go to the two people I know that work at Activision. Yeah, they work in the more like QA side of it. But I texted them straight away. I was like, "What the hell is this? Are you guys working on a Star Wars game?" And they're like, "No, as far as we know, there's no Star Wars game. We're working on Call of Duty." I was like, "Oh, okay." Well, maybe Ahmed Best is a playable character in Call of Duty, which would be pretty sweet.
That would be very fun.
That'd be good. That'd be great for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Biggest game franchise in the world other than Fortnite.
Do it up. All right, let's get into the episode this week. Actually, got about half an hour left or so, give or take. Different approach. Episode 4 was I gotta say, it's funny. One of the things I always say is you can never have too much Star Wars. And as far as watching goes, give me 3 episodes every time. Give me a chance to sit down and watch 3 episodes. I'm excited about it. But as far as our side of things here, our journalistic side of things, if you want to call it that, it's much nicer to be able to concentrate. I know it's a dirty word, concentrate on one episode to be able to watch through and everything else. However, with the schedule of how my life has gone, I have only been able to watch this once, and I was at work. So I might have been a little distracted at times. I really did my best to kind of glance through it again today, and I read the articles. Like I said, I had a lot of conversations about it. So I think I'm prepared enough. I was excited. I think it was another episode that's kind of it's this whole season feels like it's going to be a slow. Like I said before in the first 3, it's that slow burn like train that's starting to leave the station now. Actually, at the end of episode 3, it was leaving the station. It definitely made its way out of the station at this point. After this episode, not a whole lot in the big grand scheme. There's a lot of small developments here. Well, I mean, there is or there isn't. As far as like the overall clone side of things, obviously big steps were taken, but there are more of the emotional steps. And damn, that's all I gotta say. Kevin Kinering and his kids. I love you and hate you at the same time because you just pulling my heartstrings every single time a score moment comes up, especially at the end of this episode, which we'll get to. Because if this is how we do things here on Holy Snokes, so we have categories we break. That's the best way to break down the episode instead of just going through beat by beat. We go through and talk categories. First category we always talk about on this channel.
Who wants to see Talk to me!
Hondo Watch 2024 now. I had to add that year on now. Do we see Hondo in this episode as Hondo finally made his grand return? And the answer, my friend, blowing in the wind.
This effort is no longer profitable!
One of the days I will be able to use the right proper...
You had a child swindling people.
I thought that particularly as well.
Who is the biggest character that got swindled by a child?
This would have been a great reprise of Ezra and Hondo. Absolutely. I mean, I gotta say that Omega feels a little more Ezra-ish to a degree, like early Rebels. I feel like she's having a similar character development in a way where she had like a little bit of the young innocence thing, and then she developed into this like kind of more forward character, willing to take a lot of risks, everything else. I feel like she's a little more bold, a little more willing to get fully involved. And yeah, I think it'll be a perfect time for.
It's looking bleak, bro. It's looking bleak.
I know.
I like where we're going.
Missed opportunities galore here at this point. All I can hope for is that Rex calls him in for the final battle. That's all I gotta say. Maybe he'll call in a favor that is owed or something to that effect. I can't talk about it anymore because I'll get sad about it. So
yeah, let's move on.
It continues. We'll try again next week. All right, next up.
What do you need, Rex? Any chance I could use you for a mission?
Oh, this segment, mission briefing. This is our small summary of what went down, so we can talk about anything overarching. This was an episode where continues right from the end of last episode, where Crosshair and Omega had taken a shuttle, got a little damaged on the way out, but did manage to punch its way through into hyperspace. Not thing you could stay long for because, quite frankly, it is a ship that is damaged and not going to go very far. Of course, conveniently enough, I'll throw it out there saying conveniently enough, the comms are damaged again, so they can't contact Hunter or Wrecker at this point. A little bit of that plot armor for story purposes. Not a
always jamming the comms. You think that they'd learn? Get like an analog phone or something.
You would think at this point. They're forced to crash onto a planet that seems to be a cool planet. I believe they called it Lao. I don't know if that was the planet or if that was the town.
I think that was the planet, yeah.
It seemed like a cool planet at this point. And another typical, not backwards planet, but not exactly a very high tech planet. It has like a village or town with a spaceport and everything else, heavily controlled by the Imperials and everything else. I'm impressed with her landing capabilities. Omega does get to land the crash shuttle, considering it had nothing left. They survived. That's the important thing. And Crosshair, Crosshair, Omega, and Batcher go into town and try to figure out what's up. Try to stay one step ahead of Hemlock. They get into some interesting conversations, a little swindling. This is the very Ezra like con game that
Con Air.
Con Air. I started thinking about that. Oh, Omega's hair gets a little longer. She's almost getting to that Nick Cage beautiful hair from Con Air. That's what makes me think of it. But she has some interesting conversations. We got the slimy attendant who will obviously take a bribe of 30,000 credits to get them onto his shuttle. We have the bartender droid who is in charge of a nice little watering hole. It's full of illegal gambling. We have a new Imperial of the week in terms of like Nolan from the last season.
Did we get his name?
Man. Captain Man.
Is that his name?
Yes, voiced by Harry Lloyd, who I know.
Is that Harry Lloyd?
That was Harry Lloyd voicing him. Yes, from Game of Thrones and also from Doctor Who, episode of Family of Blood. Also known as the great grandkid of Charles Dickens.
Mm-hmm.
I might have missed a great in there somewhere, but anyway, direct descendant from Charles Dickens.
Mm-hmm.
I loved Man. I gotta say, I thought Man was a great. Sometimes we have these Imperials that are like
such a dick.
Right, he does his job very well. Right, does his job very well. You need these.
Why they all gotta be English too? Fuck's sake! Can we have some American Imperials that are pieces of shit?
Because Maddie and the English are the enemy. You know that at this point. As far as Star Wars
I
goes.
get it. I know my country's history of being an empire. Okay, I understand.
We're no better, honestly. I think we're no better at this point. But we got to at least keep the illusion up. Out of the galaxy far, far away, English is evil.
Yeah, I get it. We're colonizers. Yep. I'm well aware.
So Omega, we learn, is a Rain Man type gambler. She's very good at these games, and just put her up in Vegas at any time if you want to make a quick buck or a quick 30,000, 35,000. All you can see is Crosshair being Tom Cruise and Omega being like.
Funny? When I was talking to some friends about that, I went with Kevin Spacey in the movie 21.
Oh, that's a good call too. That's a good call too.
I didn't think about Rain Man.
That's it. Joanne's got to watch she's got to have some shows she watches, like Judge Wapner, like People's Court. I don't know what it would be. What the People's Court affiliate is in Star Wars, or the equal of that is. But that's what she is, man. That's what she is. She just knows it down to her bones. Either way, we have they tried their best to do it her way. Can't quite seal the deal that way due to Captain Min's, shall we say, very strong way of keeping Bill getting his credits back outside of the game. And up with a good firefight in the spaceport, doing it Crosshair's way finally. A little more animal action going on there as well. Some animals helping him, Batcher helping him, Crosshair and Omega Animal Steel shuttle fly away, and finally they aren't damaged enough they can use their comms. Even though the Imperials can track the shuttle, they have enough of a headspace that they can send a coded mission. Omega has. They end up landing on the moons of Ryloth, and we end up getting the great reunion that we've been waiting for since the end of season 2.
Was it that great?
It was for the first part of it. The first part of it was great. The second part of it, well, it was to be continued, shall we say. As Crosshair takes a look at Hunter Wrecker take a look at Crosshair as he comes out of the ship. Interested to see what that's going to be.
His theme when it kicked in as well.
Oh, yeah. Oh. That's all.
You know how they usually do it with like dark synth kind of stuff? This time switching it up for strings and have it come in off of the nice music of the reunion, and then having Crosshair's theme come in, but like a string version. I was like, oh my God.
Kiners, you know what you're doing. But so yeah, that is the mission briefing side of things overall. Well, we need to touch base on that. We'll come back for that for the notes at the end of the episode. Let's move on to our next category part of things where we can break things down. Next up.
I was hoping for the whole squad, but you'll do.
The Bachelor, our favorite character of the week, can be a member of the Bad Batch. Doesn't have to be. Just anybody who's in the episode. Who was your Bachelor of the week, Maddie?
It was Omega.
Probably
because she managed to swindle 45 grand off of an Imperial.
And also another creature as well. Was that I was like, oh God, is that Bosk? It wasn't Bosk at all.
No, it was just another Trandoshan.
Right. But when I see that, I'm like, oh, is that Bosk? would make sense. It'd be kind of cool to see their character like that. But
It's kind of cool that she swindled it off of a Trandoshan because the person who taught her to swindle was a Trandoshan.
yeah, that's absolutely true.
It's poetry, it rhymes.
Learning from these characters. See, this is Sid's redemption all over.
That.
Sid's redemption, man.
Move on your point. There. Who's your bachelor? Who's your bachelor?
It starts there. Sid is my bachelor of the week.
Shut up. Who's your bachelor?
I actually considered Omega for various reasons. It was, like I said, I really do think she's taken a step forward this season already in 4 episodes. I've always liked the character, but she's got a real sense of leadership to her, even more than she had before. But I'm going to go differently. Because you did Omega, I'll go differently because I was kind of between two. I'm going to go with Man. I thought Man was. Give me a good villain with a good vocal talent behind it. Give me a great antagonist, and I don't know. Give me a husky Imperial. I feel something that I could possibly cosplay and look okay. And I love my baddies that way. My fatty baddies for me. Give it to me anytime. I think Man.
You know who I wish it was, and I actually thought of this. I wish it was. I can never remember his name, which is bad because I absolutely love him. The Scottish guy from Andor.
Yes, that went through my mind. I can't remember his name either now.
I can't remember what it is. I just hope one day he gets like an Imperial uniform. He gets to step it up and become what he wants to be so bad.
I fully agree. I loved it. Oh God, what is the guy's name?
I can't remember, but.
Either way, yeah, I agree. I do love it. And that actually went through my mind as well. That would have been great if he had seen him later on. This was where he was at this point. Although this is still pre-Andor, so it couldn't be. But I agree that would have been a cool thing. And I hope we get to see him at some point. That'd be great to see him back down the line where he
apparently he's not in Andor season 2. So
which I know, yeah, we mentioned that before. And that's sad. It's understandable though. That character is kind of
show sucks already.
I mean, the character is kind of done. There's no more place for him to go as far as moving forward. But you know what? Let's have him survive the Galactic Civil War. Let's see where he is afterwards. Maybe make an appearance in the Mando movies or something. I don't know. We'll find out. All right. Now, what is the next category?
Ability to speak does not make you intelligent. Now get out of here.
Our favorite line of dialogue. We had a couple of good ones this week. I'll start off with mine. It was definitely going to be a Crosshair line because Crosshair's snark was at a premium this week.
It was Omega's.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. In fact, I actually almost should have made Crosshair my favorite back character of the week because I loved his character development this week, to be honest with you. It was great seeing him. He's finally taking that road we knew he was probably eventually going to take. He's taking it slowly. But, for example, when he takes the money from Omega at some point, they have that great crux of the moment where Omega and Crosshair do battle over Batcher because I forgot to mention that in the mission briefing. Man takes Batcher away.
And you pick him for your character of the week.
I know. He's smart. He's smart. That's what you do. Go aim for the animal. That's what you got to do to get to the heart of things. Omega wants to go save Batcher. Of course, Crosshair's like, forget the Hound. He's over there. We got to go this way. And Omega's like, fine, take the money and run, bastard. It's like, wow, Omega's really getting a little strong for that and everything else. And of course, Crosshair takes the money and does the Han Solo, walks 2 steps, and is like, and turns around and goes back. And they have that reunion again. But my favorite line, I think, was when he looked at her and just goes, I can hardly wait. He has that moment where he just starts talking she's got this plan in place. She's got a million ideas in one. It's really like she's Luke Skywalker and he's Han Solo. He's just so critically behind the scenes going, yeah, this is going to be great. You're our leader now. Wonderful. Can't wait to see how this works. I'm all favorite line. How about you?
Mine is just one word. But before I say it, I do want to give a little honorary mention to when Crosshair says we don't have enough time, and Omega just turns around and says, "Well, stop wasting it complaining."
Yeah,
it's that's such a little kid thing. I'm just you are a snot-nosed little teenager right now, and okay.
I gotta say real quick. I think I know your line, but go ahead and say it. I want to see if I'm right.
Finally.
That was the other one I had
Listen,
chosen. Yeah.
Batcher wasn't the only dog that got let off the leash.
Yes. It was great to see because then we had the idea that Crosshair has his arm or his hand thing and shaking and everything else, but he's still like, I could take out half of them myself. Let's just do this thing for Christ's sake, pretty much. But yeah, I agree. Finally, was a good one there. Yes, Crosshair.
He's finally like allowed to be himself. He doesn't have to like hide for Omega's sake. He's like, cool, I can just kill everyone.
We're gonna do everything. We're gonna do it his way now. That was actually another one of my favorite lines. Because finally, Omega, the whole time, as always, you struggle with her because she's so good and she so wants to do the right thing by everybody. She wants to release all the animals. She wants to save all the animals. She wants to go back to Tantus because they left the clone prisoners behind. And Crusher's like, what are you talking about? We just made it out of there alive. I almost expect Crusher. You can't save everybody. You can't save every creature from the Empire. That's not how this works. And Omega's like, yeah, I'm gonna damn sure to try. And you're like, damn, that's impressive. And I want to be like you, Omega.
The naivety of youth.
And that's part of it. And Crusher's like, oh God. But he brings back a little bit of that youth, and he's like, fine, all right, we'll do it. At that point, that was the greatest part, is seeing Omega finally go. She tries everything her way. Gets to the point where there's nothing left. He's like, all right, big boy, you're up. Let's do things your way.
Yeah.
Finally.
That was my hashtag Bad Batch no context this week was Frank Sinatra singing My Way.
There you
I
go.
did it my way.
I love that. All right, let's move on then to the next category. We're kind of running on time a little bit here.
Do you ever hear the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
Put that in your holocron and snoke it. This is where we take a look at something in the episode, and we want to just go into a little more detail, explore more lore, as it were. Breaking down that lore, let's see what we have to come up this week. For me, it's when man was taken by what appears to be a Rathtar. Is that a Rathtar that would take him?
It did look like a Rath. Oh, yeah.
So I want to see more about. Let's see where these. I want to see more about the Rathars. Tease them a little bit. We get some great action sequences in the Force Awakens. Where are these things from? Where can we get more of them? I want to see another big kaiju battle between some Rathars and maybe the Zillo Beast or something big like that. Give me. Maybe I'm all Godzilla'd up. Give me the Zillo Beast versus a couple of Rathars. Let's get it done.
I didn't have one, to be honest. Okay. This one was kind of a little bit lawless, but then I remembered one, and it was one that actually, shout out Molly Damon, she made me think of this earlier. We have Crosshair's hand trimmer.
Yes.
Hemlock also has a thing with his hand.
Yeah.
The way he has the glove, and like he's always like holding his wrist like that. I think it's something to do with how he made himself immune to the poison he created. Maybe he's got like a deformed hand that like he would put in the vat of poison and or like inject himself with the poison into his hand to make himself immune to it. But he's got the glove, and he's got something with his hand, and he's always holding his wrist.
Right. We don't know, do we? So I think it was Kim. Kim watched it with me, and she asked me, "She's like, do we know what's wrong with his hand?" I was like, I don't think we do, but it is noticeable. So
I think it's something to do with the poison, because he mentioned that last season that he made himself immune to it. Right. He always wears the glove on that hand.
Interesting.
So I wonder if he's like shooting himself up with the poison. I don't know. That's why I want to know anyway.
Oh yeah, that's actually a very exciting thing. That's a definitely intriguing thing for sure. I gotta feel like if they're laying it down and my wife is picking it up and I'm seeing it, then it's got to be something they gotta at least address by the end, figuring out what's going on with Hemlock.
That's how That's how Crosshair kills him. Just injects it right into his neck.
That'd be cool. That would be cool. All right. Next up, then we seen a lot of action.
Hear a lot of carbon scoring here. Looks like you boys have seen a lot of action.
Seen a lot of action. That's our favorite action beats of the episode. This one had some great action beats in there as well. For me, it was actually, go ahead. Why don't we go for you first?
I love this one because it was when Crosshair's hand started shaking, and he was looking at the poncho trooper in the tower, and he saw his hand was shaking, so he aimed a little bit to the side.
Yes,
because he thought they missed, so he aimed a little bit off, and then
yes.
Okay, that's using your disfigurement or whatever he's got down there to his advantage.
Very intelligent, absolutely. And I love the subtlety of that, keeping that go throughout, that he would adapt. he knows what's going on. This is his shooting is his life. He can always adjust things. He can adjust just a little bit to the hand trimmer as well. What a great moment that was! Absolutely. For me, even though I loved him, it was the death of Captain Man. It was the Wrathfire incident. I love the door opens, all the animals are coming out. He gets knocked around. He gets his gun knocked around. One of the things runs by. By the way, there are porgs there somewhere. I heard some porgs action going on. It's like,
I thought I had the porgs too. Maybe they were just off camera.
The side. So
I thought it was going to be a rancor in that cage.
I thought so too, but I'm glad it wasn't because we've done rancors enough. Let's get some other things in there.
Or Gunji got captured again.
Nice. So he runs through and knocks the gun out of his hand again. He doesn't know what to do. And all of a sudden, the doors open, the big doors, grabs him with a tentacle, just like a Rathar, brings him in. And you see him like, oh! He grabs it, actually closed the door himself. And all you just hear inside is death and violence. It's a great moment. It made me smile, made me laugh, made me cheer. You see, the thing is, I love the character. I love getting him killed too. Those are kind of one of those good moments, fist pump moments for sure. So there we go there. All right, next up. Sorry for going a little quick. I do have a little bit of time crunch, like I mentioned before. Let's move it forward. We have.
Laugh it up, fuzzball.
Fuzzball. This is our favorite comedic moments of the week. Everybody, and there's a lot of funny moments this episode, unlike the last episode where we're kind of the first episode where we were searching for funny moments because there wasn't a lot to be had. A lot more this time around. But this one, for sure, it might have been my favorite comedic moment of the season so far, for sure. Maybe even it'd be up there for the series for me. It's such a little moment, but it's so funny to me. Omega and Crosshair get into the shuttle. And it goes up to the shuttle. Yes. Also get this shot of this stormtrooper on the platform looking good.
Poncho trooper, yeah.
The Poncho trooper. And his eyes light up and he's like, all of a sudden, he gets blown out of.
It was like
I laughed my ass off at it.
It was a proper moment of like record scratch. You're like, hey, that's me. You're probably wondering how I got here.
Jumped back. It was perfect action, perfect humor, perfectly bad batch. That was definitively by Bowen for sure.
And the scream that they added with it as well.
Yes. So well done. So well done. All right. How about you, my friend? What was your favorite comedic moment of the week?
I got a cross off my Thank the Maker bingo card this week because we got a D Squad reference. The birds that escaped were the same type of birds that the D Squad were riding.
That made you laugh, did it? That made you laugh?
Because I was like, of course they found a way. We didn't get Meba Gascon, unfortunately.
No, Meba.
But they found a way.
Shout out to, of course, D Squad, Meba Gascon. May we see you again in some way, shape, or form.
God, I hope we do.
Where are you? Where are you, Meba Gascon?
What if Meba Gascon comes in and he leads the assault on Mount Tantus?
That would be
holy shit.
That would certainly be hilarious.
That's my Force vision. Is Meba Gascon leads the assault on Mount Tantus?
Jumping ahead on things, absolutely. All right, next up we got parsecs out of 11.
It's a ship that made the Kessel run in less than 12 parsecs.
Less than 12, which is 11, because we always turn things up to 11 here on PLD Projects. How we rate this episode on a scale of 1 to 11? I'm going to give this one 9.5. I really, really enjoyed it this week. It was I always keep saying low stakes, but it is important stakes. We got the big reunion at the end, right? So definitely, I keep saying and then correcting myself. I keep saying low stakes, not very hugely important to the overall arc, but it has that great moment at the end, which is like the crux of what the season was supposed to be about, reuniting the Bad Batch and everything else. So that is a big statement. Getting there was a little bit of a slower burn, but it was that kind of great character building. The brother sister Crosshair Omega relationship has been built, and when you know that if Crosshair is going to make it back to be with the boys and be a part of the Bad Batch, it's going to be Omega kind of greasing the wheels at this point. Omega's innocence, her naivety, her just love, and her desire for good, and her want to get everybody together as family. That is what it's going to be, and I think that so the funness of the episode, the Crosshair unleashed, Omega becoming like the con man that Ezra and Hondo always wanted to be, and then that reunion at the end kicks it up that extra 0.5. seeing Hunter get his daughter back in a way, the tears flowing between Wrecker and her, with the kind of music going. Oh God, you're like, I needed this in my blood. I needed this in my blood, in my veins. Give it to me. So 9.5 out of 11 for me. What about you, Maddie?
I'm gonna give it 8. It was good fun. It was a really solid episode. I really liked it. It was really good, pretty funny. I do kind of wish we had one more episode before the reunion and had the reunion as like a mid-season thing. If we'd have got maybe one more episode with Hunter and Wrecker, where maybe we see them get the call from Omega and be like, it's Omega. Like, but is it, because Wrecker even says, like, is it really her? I would have loved to have seen that moment of like Hunter realizing that Omega escaped and he doesn't know that Crosshair's with her. So he could have been like, the kid escaped by herself. Like, I feel like we were kind of robbed of that little moment a little bit.
I get that. I absolutely see that. I mean, it's kind of funny here. It's 4 episodes in, and Hunter and Wrecker have had very limited time. I mean, it's basically 1, 3, and 4 have basically
been that means, right?
Episodes. Oh yeah.
Who was the last clone that had a lot of time with Omega?
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. That's what we thought.
Might want to rethink our Deadpool.
All right. Next up, then we have our final category of the night, day, whatever.
Premonitions.
Force Vision is where we talk about our future of the series, or it could be even future series. Something that's going to happen in the future timeline because of this episode. I'm going to lay it out here. I think next week is called The Return. Who is the return going to be? Could it be Ventress? I don't know, but I'm going to say no. I think we're going to get Rex and Echo next episode. I think we're going to get the batch is finally going to. That's the one. Echo is the one piece left that we have. And if you assume that Tech is dead, still like I do, I still not buying into the Tech is alive in any way, shape, or form. I don't buy into it. I think it's over, and I think we have to live with that. So with that mind, Echo is the only piece left. So let's get Rex to bring Echo back. A full reunion of the Bad Batch. A full statement of, okay, we've gotten ourselves back together. What is our mission for the rest of the season, the rest of the series? And that's what we'll start going full throttle from here. That's my call. What about you, my friend?
I think they're calling it the return. I think that's mentioning it. And it ties into what I think is that I think it's the return of Crosshair. And I think we're going to see some. I don't think it's going to be the big, warm, fuzzy, reunion that everyone would love for it to be. I think there's going to be a lot of tension. There's going to be a lot of friction. The way that Wrecker looked at Crosshair, I don't think he's going to pull him into a big bear hug and be like, I've missed you. Everything's okay. Come back to us. I think there's going to be a lot of looking out of corners of eyes at each other, a lot of mistrust going on. I would love for Echo and Rex to come in like Gandalf in Two Towers, look to me at the first light of the seventh day?
Right.
Second day, the first light of the second day. Yeah. Then, Echo and Rex appear on the hill.
The light behind them. Yeah, that'd be great. That would be wonderful. I agree. It's going to be an interesting way because obviously at the end you didn't get that warm fuzzy feeling like we thought. Like Wrecker had the warm fuzzy before. Last time he tried to bring Wrecker or Crosshair back, and he was like, "You're one of us. It's okay. We'll make it work." But it does seem like Wrecker's been through a lot. Obviously, the death of Tech has hurt Wrecker quite a bit, and we haven't seen it really completely. Like we've seen, obviously, is it weighing on Omega. I think seeing it weigh heavily on Hunter a little bit. I'll get to see it from Wrecker. I think we'll get that more through Crosshair potentially. But I don't know. I maybe this is the format the show is in. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a one and done. Like we get one episode of tension at the end. They kind of
then they make up by the end of the episode.
Something happens. Crosshair saves them or something, and they're back together potentially. I think that might be the way it should be too. I don't think it's necessarily they shouldn't have to draw it out too long. But yeah, I agree. It's gonna be a moment for sure. And yeah, seeing Rex and Echo come in like that'd be glorious. So.
Especially because now Wrecker's taken up the more. He's not as reckless as he was before. Now he's like kind of taken on the techism of like he thinks everything through. So he's going to be like, I don't trust you. And just the way he was like standing there, I was like, oh buddy.
All right. That I think should do it for us this week. We are sort of out of time. Any anything yet left to say about this episode?
No, I think.
All right, perfect. Love the episode. Can't wait for next week. We'll be back for that. Where can the folks find you, Maddie?
Right there. everywhere. It's written there, Matty Mourner. Find me there. Find my band Mourner, Mourner. I'm going to have some new news coming out real soon about something pretty cool. Find me here every week for Holy Snokes. Hit the subscribe, hit the like, button's right down there. Go up to the bar, the search bar there. Type patreon.com/PLD Projects. Join us there if you can. If you can't, all good. No worries. But we'd appreciate it if you did.
Absolutely. All right, my friend. I can find me at _News on Twitter. You can find me all over the place with this channel. We got review every other week. Me and Lego go into V, Two Whitaker White Dudes on film. Me and PJ going into horror franchises, closing out the Friday the 13th saga proper. I'm going to do a couple of the Womp Stomp fan films, which we think deserve some attention. And of course, I do my Crown Jewels every week. This week, Silver Salmon, another demo / rehearsal from the
that one I know.
World. Okay,
that one I know.
There you go. A little rehearsal sound from the band from that News of the World session day from a song that was written by Tim Staffel back on the early pre-Queen days from Smile era. So very interesting to hear. Yeah, I think you do that. And of course, if you're on the audio feed, I made this announcement. I'll make it a quick announcement again. Look for the if you love Holy Snokes, look for the Holy Snokes proper channel where everything, once I re-upload all the old episodes, that's the place where this will eventually start living as a new episodes. I'm going to keep it right now on the main PLD Projects channel until all the old episodes are up and ready to go. But I am branching them out. We're going to split things up and have our own feed for everything. Yeah, that'll do it. See you next week. See you next week. See you next week. And may the force be with you. PLD Projects presents Holy Snokes, the Star Wars podcast, featuring PLD and Matty Gunner. May the Force be with you, always.